Hey y'all, it's Anime Man. Today I'm going to be bringing the 6th episode of Tate no Yuusha no Nariagari. And I gotta say, this episode, while it wasn't an action-packed episode, it was still a nice character piece, with really the only downside in this episode literally just being the start of it, where Naofumi just puts the slave crest on Philo and she feels completely uncomfortable. And in that sequence, parts ways in, I was just thinking, we've had a good amount of character development with Naofumi at this point, where he would at least allow people in his party to do things of free will, like in the instance of Reptilia, when the slave crest out of her body was removed. She was willing to still be part of Naofumi's party, and she only asked for the slave crest because she wanted it. And I was fine with that. What I didn't like in the start was when they put the slave crest on Philo, but there wasn't any transitory scene of Naofumi asking for permission from Philo, and Philo either agreeing or disagreeing. Now, if they would have just done that, and Philo would have said no, then Naofumi forces the slave crest on her, pretty much saying that it's necessary in order to save multiple people from the waves and all that, then you know what? I'd be fine and dandy with that, because it would have fit in with the character now that was being established in Naofumi's personality from a few episodes ago. But to just have the slave crest put in Philo, and then Philo's all fine and dandy, as if nothing happened, as if no slave crest was put inside her body, it just didn't set well for me from a writing standpoint. And that felt like a weakness about this episode, but that was really the only downside, because everything else in this episode was good. Because I did like the family dynamic that Naofumi's starting to form with Reptilia and Philo, where Philo's kind of like the younger daughter in a way. Reptilia's like the older daughter, and even Naofumi acknowledges that Reptilia's like a daughter to him. And I did like how it set itself up for a humorous scene where Reptilia's like, oh no, because we all know that Reptilia, she doesn't want to be in the friend or family zone. She actually wants to be in a romantic relationship with Naofumi by all the implications, and that's why she reacted that way. In her mind, she's probably thinking, oh no, I want to actually be in a romantic relationship, but Naofumi doesn't see it that way for obvious reasons, because if he sees Reptilia as a daughter, then yeah, of course he wouldn't want to pursue a romantic relationship in that situation. So that scene was funny for those reasons, and it actually fit in with the character personalities too, from what we've seen of them in the previous episodes, and that's why it fit. And then the little adorable sequences, like when they're trying to feed Philo food and they give her a sandwich and she's like, oh, it's so-so, was also a pretty funny scene, since that sandwich actually looked good and it made it seem like she was going to like it, but no, she wasn't impressed. So there was some good, cute humor instances that at the same time gave some characterization towards our characters at the very least. So that was a good thing about this episode. And then furthermore, what also made this episode good was we got to see Philo actually scrapping some few fights. Like there was a scene where these bandits were going to go after Naofumi, and then you see Philo and Reptilia pretty much take care of all these bandits without Naofumi having to do anything. And that was a nice sequence right there, because it shows Philo's resourcefulness. And then I like how it showed it again when they were actually fighting this uber lion creature, and you see Philo, Reptilia, and Naofumi struggle to beat this lion, but they were actually able to combine all their abilities. Naofumi was able to utilize the abilities he gained throughout his journey to actually take on the lion, and then you have Philo combine its air attack so that the ears of the lion burst, and then Reptilia finishes off with the sword attack. Like that kind of shit in this episode felt satisfying to see teamwork, and just to see their family dynamic grow even stronger. It just felt like a really, really beautiful thing. So that's why I felt this episode did well from the character standpoint, because we see everyone coming closer, and you see naturally Reptilia act like a real individual, because there are some instances where the older sibling will feel jealous of the younger sibling hogging all the attention, which is what Philo was doing, getting all the attention of Naofumi, and you see Raptilia all salty as hell, but it felt realistic because mentally Raptilia is kind of still a child because she just barely, that just because she looks like an adult, mentality wise she's still a child. So I like that scene too. It felt realistic, it was funny, and at the same time it only made it more satisfying when they worked together, because when shit gets real, siblings, they come together and they take care of a situation in real life. And I like how this episode had that gratifying character interaction moment near the end where everyone was in sync to take on a big creature. It just made it feel gratifying. And then I also like how, from a character standpoint, now Fumi becomes wiser by getting contacts with this individual that knows traders, like people who trade resources. And we also get to find out how all the other heroes are doing some epic shit. Like one of them's took on a dragon, another one helped save this village, another one's possibly raising an army, showing off that while Naofumi's doing his thing, the others are doing their thing, and they're changing the fantasy world in their own ways. So that was also another nice element about this episode, that things are not just staying static. They're at least growing, so that when the time comes when the wave catastrophe shows up, maybe all the other heroes like Spear Hero will actually have more allies to accompany our heroes, possibly. So I like that too. I feel like it's a possible setup for the next wave catastrophe. And aside from that, I like how it even used the plot point of having them find magical threats to clothe Philo because she broke every single clothing that she's in. I like how they utilized that to their advantage and actually had Naofumi go on this quest to get resources, and then coincidentally they end up with finding these resources for Philo's clothing, and it ends off in a cute scene where Naofumi actually compliments Philo and Philo actually hugs Naofumi, because even though that may seem like a simple scene, it's really not, because you're starting to see Naofumi, he's further appreciating the people around him more. And when he complimented Philo saying that she looked very nice, I felt like that was a good scene, because now Naofumi from a few episodes ago, with how he was wanting human interaction with other people in a few episodes ago, he wouldn't have said that. But to see him now compliment an individual on their looks is actually a progression of his character. He's becoming a more sociable individual. He's talking to more people, and he's becoming a more fully realized character. So that's why I felt this episode was really good. It did a good job of making Naofumi grow, and Philo, it also helped her grow. And that's why I felt this episode had a good character progression, and it was also good from the story standpoint for those same reasons I mentioned, the character standpoint. They were intertwined, and we got to find out more about the heroes. They found clothing for Filio, and Naofumi figured out a way to make money by pretty much traveling around and helping people with medicine, which is built up in the previous episodes too, because he did help cure Raptilia of the disease that she had. So that was also nice to see him use his intelligence to his advantage to make some moolah. And that's why I felt this episode was good from a story standpoint. Now, aside from that, the other elements, animation and art were good, and the soundtrack and voice acting was good. So it did, all around, it was really good in all those elements. And that's why, taking all these factors into consideration, this episode still gets an above average score of a 7 out of 10. Now, it didn't get an 8 out of 10 because of the whole slave Chris thing I mentioned. But other than that, this episode was still pretty darn good. And like I say on occasions, no anime is perfect. What really matters to me is if an anime can stay mostly good with making the least amount of mistakes possible. And this show is still pretty darn good, honestly. And I cannot wait to see more of the interaction between Naofumi, Filio, and Raptilia. I just love their family dynamic going on. So anyways, guys and gals, these are my thoughts on the episode. Comment down your thoughts on the episode below in the comment section. Rate the video. Subscribe if you want to see more reviews and reactions. And I'll see you guys later. Subscribe for more. Alright, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.